Welcome, everyone, to the Kinky Hair Culture Podcast, where we interview the people behind the chair and the people that make your natural hair products. I'm your host, Candace. Today, we have Justin. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Justin. I am known on YouTube as J. Lew. Typically, I say, hey, yo, what it do? It's your boy, J. Lew, and you are just in time for something new. And with that being said, I really appreciate you for having me on today's podcast, Candace. And I'm definitely here for whatever question you may have. Yeah.
So please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up from. I'd like the audience to get to know everything about the person I'm interviewing.
Yeah, so I was born in Houston. Moved around a lot as a kid. We moved all over from like Beaumont, Louisiana, and different parts of Houston and things of that nature. But I'm a Houston native. You can probably tell in my accent and everything like that. I grew up being told I talk slow. That's where the intro comes from. Is like, hey, yo, what it do? Because in Houston, it's like we're known for freestyling and stuff like that. So I've always been like into like music, and growing up, because we were moving around a lot, my mom, she used to always like work several jobs. And one of those jobs was working in a hair salon.
Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, I would have to sweep up, and you know how Black mamas are. They're like, hey, in order for you to get like money or whatever the case is, you have to do chores. So we would go to the shop with her and we would sweep up. She worked another job where we would everywhere she went, like we were basically like her second hand, right? But working in a hair salon, it was like I was always kind of sitting back and like listening to the stylists and kind of do what they did. And I learned a lot about hair at a young age. And as I got older, what I realized was that a lot of men don't know anything about their hair because they don't care to. And it's I think we're in a shift now to where a lot more men are starting to care more about that kind of stuff. But I'm pretty sure, as you know, being in the Kinky Hair podcast, that there's not a lot of formal education when it comes to our hair. And we're kind of thrown off to the side to say, oh, well, your hair is nappy or your hair is this. And I'm like, that's not the actual meanings of our hair, So I started creating a YouTube channel. It was just a hobby at first, and it got to the point to where it became a business, as well as nowadays there's several people all over that I've inspired, taught, given feedback and things of that nature, So I'm kind of not kind of, but I'm definitely blessed to be in a position that I'm in now, because I never saw this, So
I'm glad you spoke on that, because the main problem, like you said, people don't care to know, or the miseducation. And we just like, nah, we don't really want to, especially men. I noticed that they be like, nah. Do you think that will ever change?
I do believe it's going to change. It starts off with one thing that I noticed was if you all want to follow the YouTube channel, this is simply Just in Time. But one thing I noticed is that there is an interest from men that want to learn more about their hair, but there's like a lot of misinformation even from the guys that do it, right? So I've always taken kind of like the Lupe Fiasco approach, where it's like you have to make something cool in order for people to want to digest it, right? So it's like you can't just hit them with information and knowledge. You have to entertain people, So it's like what I try to focus on is trying to add an entertainment aspect, but I don't want it to be too to where I'm like goofy or corny, But there's a lot of men that over the years have hit me up and was like, yo, man, like without you, I would have went bald at an earlier age, or I never knew how to take care of my hair, and it's just like I know all these different terms now, and it's been a blessing, because a lot of men typically go bald because they don't take care of their hair, and they think it's hereditary, when the reality is they just don't do the daily things that they need to. Like women typically are raised to moisturize their hair every day, clean their face and things. Guys, man, I know dudes that'll go months without washing their hair, and then they wonder why they're like having receding hairlines and stuff like that, So I think the interest is definitely changing.
So you bring into the table more of awareness that it's okay, Stop thinking it's not cool to men to pamper themselves. Because, a lot of men don't want to do some stuff, especially like simple. We could go as simple as a pedicure. Most people don't, men don't want to do it like that's for women and stuff. No, it's okay to be pampered, it's okay. So you
It,
bringing more of awareness to men and saying that it's okay. And again, it's not corny. The more entertainment the way the world is, entertainment is everything.
yeah.
So the more that you are out there doing what you love and passionate about it, hey, the rest is history.
Yeah, and to clear that up, when I say it's like corny for me to do something that I'm not naturally doing. You know, there's some people that all day they just tell jokes and they're just like that, right? And that's not corny because they're being who they are. But for me, it's corny to try to like overdo it
Yeah.
because that's not who I am, you know. So
Okay. So, some of your pictures, I've noticed that you had waves in your hair, and
oh
now
yeah.
your hair is like grown out. What's going
Looking like
on?
Afro Thunder. I started my YouTube more so focused on 360 waves. There's a huge interest in waves a long time ago, and still kind of now. But the older I became, it's kind of like a spiritual element. I wanted to start a lock journey, right? And one thing that I noticed is that typically men who are becoming more successful, what do? They grow their hair out, right? Even if you was to refer to biblical times, men had longer hair. You go throughout any other belief system, like in Hindus, the longer your hair is, the wiser you are. All this kind of Buddhism, all this stuff is the same, right? So for me, it was like I've done everything in the wave game. I've had every single pattern. And for the people that may not know, and there's different wave styles that you can have. The most common one is 360s, which what people refer to as a beehive pattern. But I've had 360 waves, I've had 540 waves, I've had what is known as 720 waves.
Okay, before you go any deeper than that, okay. I know the 360. What's 540 and 720? What is all that?
Yeah, so the thing about that is basically 360s just go around your head, right? So it's like if somebody took a pebble and threw it in the water, you know how the ripples like go away from it and it creates like a circular wave.
Yeah.
So those are 360s. 540s is if you were to take like if you were to take that pattern and kind of slant it at like a 45-degree angle. That's the easiest scientific way to explain it. But it's like taking a brush and instead of just brushing straight to make your waves go in a 360 look, you brush it kind of at an angle to where your hair starts to swirl, right? So I've always told people there's two different types of crowns. There's the beehive and then there's a swirl crown. 540s gets into the swirl crown, and then 720s is like when they're basically perpendicular waves, you know. So on the top of my head, people with 360s would be used to seeing waves that go from left to right, but with 720s they go from the front to the back. And on one of my profile pictures on YouTube, people typically think that I have cornrows, but they're actually waves, and they're called 720 waves. And it's just based off of the angle that the waves spin in on your head. So
thank you for the education, because I didn't have no idea. I just know about 360. When you start saying all that, I was like, wait a minute, is he talking about shoes? What is he talking about? Because it's just like, wow, like
yeah. And
it's a lot.
That's the thing about the channel is like there's always people like yourself that don't know. And I believe my background is in engineering, so I forgot to mention that I went to Texas A&M for civil engineering, and I've always had like an analytical mindset. So I like to get into the science of things. And on my channel, what I do is I break down like, okay, this is what makes 540s. This is what makes 720s. Because a lot of people back in the day, they just brush their hair any kind of way, and then they would say, oh, this is 540s. And it's like, nah, bro, that's not 540s. Or they would say 720s and it was really 540s. You know, so I tried to take it a step further to actually put terms and define these things so people can say, okay, this is exactly what I want to go for. This is exactly what I want for my hair. And they have a guideline of what to follow, you know. So
thank you so much for that information. So after the waves, now that you grow your fro, what made you decide to go that way instead of keeping the waves?
So I'm pretty sure, do you like music? I know you're asking a lot of questions about me. So I'm pretty sure you've noticed J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z. There's so many different artists that they started off with a fade, but then the more successful they became, they started growing their hair out, right? So that's kind of what I mentioned earlier, is that a lot of Black men nowadays when they reach a certain level of status to where they don't have to adhere to corporate America, like
Mm-hmm.
images and things of that nature, they just say, you know what, we're going to break the mold of what professionalism looks like, and we're going to grow our hair out, right? So I was an engineer for over 10 years, and I lived in that mindset of like, oh, I have to keep a clean cut, and this is what professionalism is. Not thinking that that's not what my mindset was, but it was more so that's what is taught. And
You get
I just
to
like,
get through it with everything, right?
yeah, it's like people will always say, well, if you work at somebody else's company, you have to adhere to their rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the point to where I was able to quit my job in July of 2021, and I
Okay.
was like, you know what, forget it, I'm gonna finally do what I always wanted to do, which was get locks, you know. So, and some people refer to them as dreadlocks, some people just say dreads, but I prefer just saying locks. Just
Why?
that's the proper term.
It is.
I'm pretty sure with your history, you may know that the term dreadlocks came from like the back in slavery days. They would
Mm-hmm.
look at our hair and they said that it was dreadful to look at. And a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
typically had their hair locked up, you know, even with if we really get into it, like Samson,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the story of Samson and it says that he didn't cut his hair because that's where his strength came from and everything of that nature. Most people think that like the Bible is like this white man's religion, quote unquote, but really, if you study like where these stories came from and who wrote these stories, they were black people, you
Mm.
know. And Samson, we could say that he had locks because there's not a lot of people that believe, like Rastafarianism has that kind of concept, right? The longer the hair is, then the more wiser they are and things of that nature.
Yes.
But the region where that was written, it was in Africa, you know, so most likely he had locks. And for me, I was like, I'm not gonna call them dreads because that was the term that was, oh, their hair looks dreadful or whatever, and it's just that's where dreadlocks came from. So yeah, I don't there's a lot of misinformation that we have to correct, and I definitely have checked out a few of your episodes, and I see that you're doing a great job doing
Oh,
that.
thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. I noticed that you were
Thank
like the
you.
number one podcast, you know, and when it comes to
Thank you.
natural hair, like that in and of itself is a major feat. So I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what was your reasoning for starting just the podcast? Because I know some of my followers are going to probably want to
Look, let
check
me tell
this
you
out.
something. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. Okay.
I
You're
know.
not
I just,
interviewing me. No, I'm just messing with you. But
I know.
one of the reasons is because of my children. I'm always the
Okay.
type of person that believes in self-care, self-love. Don't change who you are. And I
Yeah.
always felt like if I'm out here putting relaxers in my hair, doing all this other stuff, and I'm sitting there telling my daughters, no, love yourself, be who you are,
Yeah.
then I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I tell them the love was going out your scalp, and they have some. My children have some beautiful long hair, and they
Oh
looking
yeah.
at me, and I'm being a hypocrite. I was like, stop, stop. It grows out your scalp. Ain't nothing wrong with your hair. Okay, love your hair, get to
Yeah.
know your hair, and that's what I did. I said, you know
That's
what, I'm gonna
very
stop
respectable.
and get myself together. So because like we always as women, we always hiding behind the makeup, the weaves, everything.
Yeah.
And that's to either get a man or to for self-love because we think that this
Yeah.
is what society wants us to be. And
Yeah.
then once we take all that away and realize no, we all different people. God made us a
Oh yeah.
certain way. So once we love ourselves, then everybody else, you could be able to get that person that you want. Or
Yeah.
look in the mirror every day and be like, yes, I am beautiful. Yes, I might got
Oh
something
yeah.
wrong here, something wrong there, but I am beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And if something wrong might be wrong to you, but to somebody else, they might love it. It might be
Oh
something
yeah.
that just brings them even closer to you. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I started my whole thing. And also because it's not a lot of people out here that has the opportunity to talk about their brand without
Yeah.
somebody that's like upcomers. And
Yeah.
I noticed that. And it's like when you go out there, you just want to talk to people like, hi, let me just tell you about my brand, why I'm passionate about it, my journey. They don't want to
Mhm.
hear all that. And then we so quick
Yeah.
to go to these stores, spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on these products. We don't know nothing about them.
Oh yeah. And when you do
Nothing.
the research, a lot of them were not made to benefit
Our hair
our hair.
texture, or
Yeah.
they just say, you know what? Oh, that's $1 billion company. I'm just going to jump on and call it a
Yep.
day. and don't
or they
care.
like mimicked what was working at the time, but a lot of the product ingredients are outdated. I'm like, that is what they were using back then. Like, I'm pretty sure Madam CJ Walker. She
Mm-hmm.
created the first hairline products and stuff of that nature, and her formula, it worked for that time period. But we now have access to better ingredients, better processes, and it's just like what I've noticed is a lot of people just stay stuck
In the
in the
past.
old days.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Because a lot of that stuff, like with Madam CJ Walker, a lot of her stuff was bad chemicals that they used to use.
yeah,
But like you said, back then it worked for them. It made their
yeah.
hair grow. But now, just like the relaxer, most people didn't know back then that it was doing that much damage. But as
Mm-hmm.
time went on, we realized, no, you're not supposed to put relaxers in your hair because,
Oh yeah.
health issues is seeping into your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't know that. So
Oh
little stuff like
yeah.
that, like you said, over time, we getting there. We getting
Well,
there.
I'm on the right platform. I'm glad that you stated that, because like when I created my channel, everything that you stated, my mindset was, I was like, man, like how can I say that I love my people and then I'm encouraging them to do certain things, like always get their hair cut or do this and this. And I understand some people prefer to have waves, but I was like, I don't want to always be known for that. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, it's time for me to grow my hair out, because when it comes to embracing our hair, locks is more common than waves are, so
Yes, it is. It is. Growing up in New York, and that was like, yes, I'm kind of telling my age a little something, but growing up in New York, like the in the 80s and like early 90s and stuff,
Mhm.
most everywhere I went, because I'm from originally from Harlem.
Okay,
Um,
I can hear it.
and look, but I stay in North Carolina now, but I got a little
Yeah.
of the New York and country talk all mixed in one. My mom used to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you so country." I was like, just because you still in New York, that don't mean nothing. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, I used to walking up and down the street, all you saw was people with dreadlocks.
Mhm.
They didn't care. They
Oh
wore their
yeah.
hair. I saw them in suits. I saw a lot of police officers with braids in their hair. I
Mhm.
was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then coming to the South, it was totally different.
Oh
You didn't
yeah.
see a lot of dreads. You didn't see a lot of police officers with braids or anything. I was like, wait a minute.
Unless you go to Louisiana,
Yeah,
Louisiana is a
places
different
like that.
story.
Yeah, because North Carolina is a conservative state, so
Yeah.
a lot of things, it's still a little different. And down here we're a little slow against stuff. Okay,
Oh
when
yeah.
everybody else doing stuff that was popping 10 years ago, we just not getting it here. So it's like moving a little slow, unless you up on everything. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you up on everything, of course you're not going to be one of the people that's behind. But
Mhm.
other than that, we kind of just a little bit on certain things.
Yeah.
And I had interviewed one lady, and she went to get the bill passed for cosmetologists to be
Mhm.
able to do the natural hair. So you get your
The
license in
curriculum.
natural hair
Yeah.
instead of just taking the whole course of
N-
the cosmetology course, which is good. You know what I'm saying?
Now, is that finalized? Is that like in motion now?
Yeah, she got it finalized. Yeah, it's that in
Okay.
North Carolina, you could just get your natural hair care license. You can't do no chemicals, none
Okay.
of that stuff. So that means you could help people understand natural hair, whether
Mhm.
you teach them how to braid hair, anything of that sort that's not chemical.
Yeah.
Don't say anything that's not chemical.
That like see that in and of itself is, like I said, when I started my channel, people on YouTube there was already like had their channels and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Like they felt it was an attack whenever I came and start presenting like knowledge and like actual information. And my thing always in the back of my head was like, they're not teaching this stuff in cosmetology. They're not teaching this stuff in barber schools and things of that nature. This information is important, in over the years, I've had several cosmetologists, I've had several barbers, I've had several people in those industries that are certified that would say, man, thank you for what you're doing, because they're not teaching this stuff in schools. Like in North Carolina, that may be the curriculum now, but with the
Mhm.
United States, even though it says united, they're all not united, right? So
Mhm.
some states may have they may have that curriculum now, but not all states. And that's one reason why I was like, okay, if I started doing YouTube, I can make it to where not just people in the United States, but people all over the world could eventually start learning the correct terms, even if it's just 10 people. That was my mindset in the beginning. I was like, even if it's just 10 people, but with the way the YouTube works, if you're good at what you do,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have information that people find valuable, then you're going to reach as many people as possible, So, and I personally would like to see more states implement that,
Mm-hmm.
because there's not real curriculum that says, hey, this is the hair. And even if it is, it's based off of old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure about what's the gentleman's name? Oprah's hairstylist. I just recently did the
Andre
Google on.
Walker.
Yeah, Andre Walker. He created the hair typing system. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, a lot of naturals gravitated towards that because of the
Yes.
numbers. And he didn't do it to benefit women. He did it to sell his products, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like there's a lot of people who were saying I'm 4C or I'm 4B or 3A or 2B or whatever the case is. And it's just like everybody, because of genetics, we all have different forms of curls within our hair. So most of
And
your
some
hair
people
may
have two
be,
different patterns in their hair.
yeah. I know I've seen people that had 3 different curl types, right? So they'll
Mm-hmm.
have like a kinky portion of their hair. And then like the closer you get towards your edges. And one of the things that I teach people is when you're first born, your curl type starts off looser, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then as your genetics become stronger and your hair, the hair follicle becomes stronger, then what happens is your real curl type is defined. But as you
Mm-hmm.
get older, or when you get closer to your edges, the curl type actually thins out or it gets looser, right? So you may
Mm-hmm.
have predominantly, let's say like 80% kinky hair, but then
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice that on your edges, it's like, well, my hair feels a little bit coily or curly. And people have been told in like style it in salons and things like that, like, oh, well, you have damage here, you need to cut it. And I'm like, no, you you shouldn't cut that. Like, it's just a different grade based off of your genetics and how hair grows from the scalp. And they don't teach that kind of stuff in that kind of level of saying, oh, in your crown, your hair is going to be a little bit looser. But then in this portion is going to be your real definition of your curl type. So
I want to say this. I appreciate you so much. You know why? Because you're a male talking about this. Okay. I'm so used to just talking to women about it through the whole
yeah.
entire time. There's one other person. Um, his name is Kafele. He's
Okay.
the king of locks. I
I've
talked to
I,
him.
well, no, it's another person I'm thinking of. But yeah.
Okay, I talk to him sometimes, and
Okay.
between talking to you and him, it's like, wow, it just feels so good that everybody's on like one page, and actually
Yeah.
the opposite sex to talk about something like this, and
Yeah.
someone to educate, because the problem is, like I said, it's the miseducation about it.
Hmm.
And I interview a lot of
Yeah.
people, stylists, who say after they finish school, one of the problems that they have is that they get to the real world and it's like, I really don't know your texture here because I wasn't taught that in school. So they go to
Hmm.
these other black salons, and then they learn how to properly do other stuff from them.
Yeah.
They don't learn it in school, they learn once they graduate.
Yep. I've
And they
seen.
also told, it's like kinky, curly. They don't have the 4A, 4B. They don't go by types. They go either it's
Yeah.
kinky, curly, or straight. And that's the only
Yep.
patterns they know.
Yeah. And that's like that's one reason why I had recently made like what is the curl types for 360 waves,
Mm-hmm.
because in the natural community, women I've noticed that there's been a shift from the numbers and they're focusing more on the actual curl types. But within men, they're trying to mimic kind of what the natural hair community is doing, and they're like behind, right? So they're still trying to say I'm 3B, da da da. And I'm like, bro, you either have straight hair, wavy hair, curly, coily, or kinky.
That's it.
And I try to separate coily and kinky, because typically what happens is kinky hair is left off. They'll just take coily from curly on up,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll put them together. They'll say kinky and coily, but like kinky hair is a special grade of curls versus coily. And it's just like
Mm-hmm.
if you try to treat kinky hair the same way as coily, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So, but yeah, there's not a lot of. Trust me, I've received a lot of hate over the years of trying to use the right terms, and that is what let me know I was on the right path. Because typically, when you're a pioneer, uh, nobody else has done it before, so you have to go against the
The
cognitive
brain, yep.
dissonance of society. And people are like, hold on, that's not right, that's not true. And over the years, I've seen people who quote unquote did not like me or whatever, they start using the terms. And I'm just like, I don't care about being known for this.
Yeah.
I care that you actually know so that other people can learn, so we can get away from saying
Mhm.
things like your hair is nappy and all that kind of stuff like that,
Mhm.
so
Like I always tell people, we all have beautiful hair no matter what. And I always tell people, I know my podcast starts with the word kinky, okay? That's
yeah.
just a catch, okay?
Oh
But
yeah.
your hair is not kinky, okay? Just love your hair.
Oh
And
yeah.
what people don't understand is when they think that their hair is nappy, it just need hydration in it. Your hair is curling up to protect itself. And once
Yep.
you get moisture in your hair, yeah, it's gonna curl back up, but it's gonna be that curl that bounces right back. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's gonna bounce right back. But when it's dry, it's
Yeah.
gonna be so hard that it feels like it's real, like the term we use, nappy, when it's not.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah,
people don't
because
understand that.
I'm pretty sure people always look at me and it's like, one thing is, not only am I a man, but I'm also light skinned. So when I speak about a lot of this stuff, they'll say, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You got that good hair. And I'm like, bro, good hair, there's only two types of hair in my personal opinion. Either you have healthy hair or unhealthy hair, right? There's good hair is just simply healthy hair, right? It's not based off of a curl type or anything of that nature. And a lot of people within our community believe that a certain curl type is good or whatever. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, if I don't put moisture in my hair, it's going to be like, if I try to pick my hair out when it's extremely dry, I'm
You're
not
gonna
trying to do
regret it.
that. Yeah, it'll be stupid, and it's not going to be as coiled or curled, but it's still going to be a form of nappiness or whatever you want to say, so it's just unhealthy or healthy hair. And when you have healthier hair, then you have less to worry about.
Exactly, exactly. Like I always tell everybody, be intimate with your hair, get to know your hair.
Mhm.
The more intimate you are, the better. Take your
Oh
time,
yeah.
use your fingers, massage your scalp, do all the proper stuff
I
to take
love
care of
scalp
your hair.
massages.
Who you telling? Who you telling?
that's
That's the
that's
best
one
thing
reason
you
why I
got.
start growing my hair out. I was just like, nah, man, I
Sleep,
gotta.
sleep, get your hair massage. They the best thing, and it helps stimulate hair growth. So
Oh
it's a
yeah.
win-win,
Hmm.
especially
I
if you have a
actually
long day of work.
reversed. I reversed. I was losing some of my hair in the corner of my hairline right here,
Mm-hmm.
partially because of wearing a do rag all the time. Not all the time, but in order to get waves, you have to wear a do rag. So they cuts off blood circulation and all that stuff. But it was also because I wasn't stimulating this area of my hair, because like when you have waves, you want to try to make sure that when your hair is
It
laid down,
stays
it
that
stays
way.
down.
Yeah.
But now, because my hair is able to grow out, I've been able to reverse it out, and it's been something that, like, as an engineer, in my background was in civil engineering. One of the things that civil engineers had to do was, if you designed a bridge, you would have to stand underneath the bridge and let a truck drive over it to be able to say that your design worked. That's how it used to be back in the day. Nowadays, they don't do that. But I was like,
I
okay,
learned something.
with the product that I created, as well as with the information I'm telling people, I'm going to be the use case, and I'm going to be able to say, hey, the reason why I can stand behind my product, as well as the advice and the tips that I'm giving you, is because I used it on myself, right? So
So you're the
uh
guy who's standing underneath the bridge, or you
yeah.
making it. Basically, I'm the guy standing underneath the bridge. So if it falls, it's on me.
Oh yeah.
So let's get
Yeah, and
into your
it's just,
brand. Okay,
sorry,
go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that's one of the things I like to live off of integrity, because, like, I'm pretty sure all of our names have meaning, and I was gonna ask you what yours means. But Justin comes from the Greek word justice, which is Justus, which is where we get our word for justice, the legal system and everything. So I try to live up to my name in regards to, like, the integrity aspect and everything. But I was gonna ask you, did you know what your name means?
I just, to be honest with you, I love hair. So I was
Yeah,
just playing around with all different types of names to express how I feel about hair. And
yeah,
the kinky hair culture, this was like, wow, because
yeah.
that's just perfect because I love hair so much. I could talk about it all day. Sometimes people have to tell me, Candace, I said, I know, I'll be quiet, I'll just be quiet. But let me just tell you that one more thing about that hair. They were like, oh, please stop.
Yeah.
It is
And
a
it
passion.
paid off, because it's like your passion allows you to be in the position that you're in.
Yes.
But
So
yeah,
let's talk.
I know you were gonna ask the question. My bad.
Yes, talk about your brand. What made you decide? You already answered the question I was going to ask you about your name. why you know came up with that name. So let's talk about your brand.
Okay, so the Justin, that's my actual name. Like, so my brand name is called Texas Tea. And the reason why I chose that name for my product line is because whenever I made it, like, I've been a YouTuber and I've reviewed products for years before I ever thought about even making my own product.
How
And
was that experience? Trying other
which
people's
experience?
products and
It was scary.
you thought one
Like,
day you're gonna wake up and here right here.
the
You
thing
right
is,
here, you're here standing right here.
people don't understand. Like, when I first started my channel, I was hungry. You know, I've kind of like became relaxed, and I'm getting that hunger back. But when I first started, I was hungry, so I was like, okay, in order for me to build my channel, I need to help people. You know, I need to help as many people as possible. And it's like there's people that's making products and that's doing different things, and you put yourself at risk of trying somebody who doesn't have a name or they're established. You don't even know if they have credentials or any kind of knowledge in making products, and it's like you're testing out these products and things of that nature. So it was putting myself at risk, and it was scary. You know, it's just like, man, I put this thing in my hair, and what if I'm allergic to it? You know, what if they have an ingredient on there? And a lot of times, especially with, like, within the wave culture, they didn't believe in product labels. Like, there was only one or two businesses that had product labels before I started saying that, hey, this is important. If you don't do this, you can actually get penalized for this, right? Like, if the government decides to check into it. And when I created my product, Texas Tea, that was one of the things that the labeling, I took it to the next step, right? A lot of people would typically have a label. It would have their name, their logo, and then like an ingredient list. But I was like, well, if we're creating products and you want people to try your product, you need to put a lot more information to give people confidence in knowing what like what it works for and what's best for, you know. So getting back to the question, it was like Texas Tea, when I tried it, I was like, I've tried a lot of products in all over. And in Texas, that is also a euphemism for like oil. So whenever you find oil in the ground, they call it liquid gold. And another name for liquid gold is Texas tea, right? So when I made the product, the way that it looked was like a yellowish gold look to it, because I started off with an oil, and I was like, man, I've struck liquid gold with this. And I was, because I'm from Houston, I was like, Texas tea, right? So that's why I came up with the name. And I made it specifically for fighting against dandruff and dry and itchy scalp, because that's what I struggle with. I'm a low porosity hair waver, or I was a waver. And I used to always struggle with my hair just itching and just having a lot of dandruff. So I was like, I want to make something that will help target something that most people struggle. And what I learned through the research was that over 50% of the people in the world struggle with either dandruff or dry scalp. You know, so I was like, okay, Texas tea, definitely this is it's unlike any other product that I've tried. And at the same time, it solves an issue that I struggle with and most people struggle with, you know. So that's kind of like the reason why I created the product. And another reason was because a lot of my supporters was like, bro, if you don't come out with your own product, like, you've
What are you
been giving us
doing? You
all
got
these
all this
gems. Like,
going
what are you
on.
doing? Yeah. So
But I'm glad that you did the research behind it, because that's one of the key things about it. You have to find out, like you said, 50% of people with dandruff, you experiencing it. You have low porosity hair. You just went in.
Yeah.
And you took the time out to like educate yourself on it. So I appreciate you for doing that, because most people, they really don't take the time out to like look. The education part of it is so important. You can't just throw anything together. You got to get the education part.
Yeah, like I said, like, whenever I was just trying out random products because I was just trying to make videos to help people out and try to introduce and bring up small businesses with, because I believe in collaboration. I don't believe in competition. Competition is a low vibration thing to me, right? Like, there's way more than enough for everybody out here. So I saw it as like, okay, I'm building my YouTube channel up and this person is coming up. And if I grow, then they'll grow alongside with me if they stay with it, you know. And a lot of times people didn't, what I realized was that just because I was taking things serious, other people weren't. And one of the things that I did on top of that was, because I went to the university that I went to, I had several friends in other fields. And one of my friends, he was a chemist. And I was like, hey, can you look over this stuff to make sure that the solubility of every single ingredient meshes well? Because some product makers, what they do is they'll just get a whole bunch of ingredients that they find on Google and they'll just throw it in there.
Yeah.
And
mix it up pot. So here you go.
yeah, for like the first 5 days, maybe 6 weeks, it stays together. But then what happens is there's like a separation of the ingredients. And then if the person that bought it doesn't know that that's supposed to happen, then it's just like they think that that's what the standard's supposed to be, and it's not supposed to be that, you know. And some
Or think
people
it's a bad
even,
product. The first thing they do is think it's a bad product.
yeah, they think it's a bad product, or it just speaks to the fact that the person that made it didn't do the necessary research. Because some people will say if you can't pronounce the ingredient, you shouldn't use it. But some ingredients are chemicals that help bind and make the products where they stay together. They've
I
been
think
used
that's
over
so ignorant.
years.
I
Yeah,
think that's
and it's
very
just
ignorant. How about just if you don't know, you can't say it, type it. We got phones. Type it in. It give you the definition of it. Okay. Come
oh
on. I think it's
yeah.
so ignorant when people do that.
It's an ego thing. That's what I realized. It's an
Mm-hmm.
arrogance of like, oh, if I don't know how to pronounce it, then it's not good. And I'm like, maybe you're not smart enough. You know, like
And you're not smart
maybe
enough because you're not applying yourself.
exactly. It's just like, just because you don't know something doesn't mean that it's harmful. And I had to use the example where like water, I can't remember the scientific term of it. I think it's like dihydrogen, something like that or whatever. I put it in the video and I was like, if you ever buy a product and it has dihydrogen, so and so, don't use the product. And it was like a test, and a lot of people was like, "Oh man, I ain't never using something like that." And I waited a week, and I was like, "Hey, you guys know that that's the scientific name for water, right?" And people were like, "I need to start doing research. I need to start Googling what these words are." And I made a follow-up video just to say, "All right, let's go through, and this is what you need to look for, and this is how you research this stuff." You know, so I don't just tell people. I also believe in putting the knowledge in their hands of how to do it, so they don't become dependent on me. You know, so.
But you know, in the black culture, water was a bad thing.
Oh yeah.
Was bad. Very bad.
Yep.
Especially if
Some
you
people
have
still say that.
relaxers. No water. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty because when I have my hair relaxed, I used to like, I see somebody spray water, let me go way over there across the street while they, what are you doing? Just being
Oh
ignorant,
yeah.
okay? Long as it's not chlorine, water is good for your hair.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
I was one of them type of people. So look, I know what you're talking about. I
And
admit I was ignorant at one time.
it just depends on the amount, right? Because water,
Mm-hmm.
what it does is it strips and removes things. What I always tell my supporters is like everything in moderation, right?
Yes.
Too much water will damage your hair. Too little water will damage your hair, but you have to have a balance of the right moisture in order to see the results
Mm-hmm.
that you're looking for, you know, because the Grand Canyon was made from a little stream of water, like over years. That massive like Grand Canyon was just from water, and it's because the power, the properties of water strips and removes things, you know. So if you have too much water and if it's constant, then yeah, you definitely will have damage. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
You're
saw that
right.
growing up with the ladies that would get trash bags or like grocery bags and put it over their hair after leaving the salon. Like, yeah, I seen a lot of stories growing
Yeah,
up.
I was one of them. Look,
Yeah,
you're right. I was one of them.
and
Sure
I understand,
was.
I get it, you know, because
You spent all that
it's
money on that hair
yeah,
and
not
water,
even
and
just
then
money,
the
but
mist,
time. Like,
time, money, everything. And then the myth that we grow up with, don't put water in your hair. Don't get your
yeah.
hair wet. We got all that
Mhm,
going on in our mind. So we're gonna first
yeah.
thing grab the first trash bag.
Mhm.
Now I'm natural. I don't care if it's raining outside. I know
Yeah.
one time I actually washed my hair. Me and my kids went outside. We washed our hair in the rain. And that was the
Yeah.
best experience in my life. I felt like my hair was so clean. I said, you know
Yeah.
what? This is earth water coming from God. We're gonna go out here and wash our hair. And that's what we did. We had us a personal shower outside. People were looking at us like we was crazy. Of course we had our clothes and stuff on. Okay.
Well,
But we just
you said
had,
you're saying you're in North Carolina, right?
yes.
So you don't have to worry about all the chemicals in Houston like we do.
Oh wow, y'all got a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, Houston, man, all these power plants, I would not encourage. If you live in a city where there's like a lot of power plants and things like
Mhm.
that, when it rains, it absorbs those chemicals. And yeah, but when you're in like the country area and like, I don't know if you say, I think you say you were like living in the country now, right?
Yeah, I live in the country part of North Carolina. We have cities
Yeah.
parts and but it's not
Back in
like
the
the
day, that's what
city
they,
city. But we do have
yeah.
little city parts and stuff down there. But
Okay.
I'm in the country part, so yeah.
Back in the day, that's what they used to do. They used to shower in the rain, you know, like because it was there wasn't that much cities, there wasn't that much pollution, you know, so it was
Yeah.
actually healthier, and it was you didn't have like water is a luxury, and that's what a lot of
Hmm.
people don't understand, you know. So
And not only that, if you stay in the country part and stuff, you have issues with harsh water, where the water is
yeah,
coming through from the ground and stuff. So it's
yeah,
not like city water. It's a little bit different. So your hair
hmm
will dry out just a little bit more than normal. So you have to add a little bit more moisture to your hair.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when I moved, I was like, wow, yeah. Okay.
And
I'm
that's
not
one of
used
the
to
things.
that.
That's one of the benefits of like, so my background in civil, I learned about the differences of hard water versus soft water. So
Mm-hmm.
some areas have hard water where there's a lot more minerals in the water, and then other
Mm-hmm.
areas have soft water where there's not that many minerals, and it'll feel as if you still have soap in your hair, but the soft water makes it feel that way because hard water strips your hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I learned that the hard way. I said, "Oh my God, why my hair feeling so dry? What? Oh my God, my hair about to fall out. Can't stop being ignorant." But you
Yeah, and
got
when you
hard
move to
water. I said,
different
"Okay,
places, you experience that kind of stuff.
huh?
When
Say that
you move to
again."
different places,
Yeah,
you experience that kind of stuff.
you learn, you live and you
Yeah,
learn. So yes.
exactly.
So tell me about some of the products that's on your product line.
So I started off with the oil,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 5 main ingredients that I started off with, and then I made an option to where you could uh, infuse like the tea tree and peppermint essential oils, which is what I use to combat like dandruff and dry scalp. But then people were like, "Hey man, well, when are you gonna come out with a butter?" Da da da. Da. So I created a product. The first time I tried to create the butter, it is what is known now as the buttercream variation on my site, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
like the highest sold product is the buttercream. But people were like, this isn't solid enough. I want something that is like a butter, And I was like, well, all right, I'll make a butter. So the oil is made specifically for like your hair. You can use it on your skin as well. And you can use it as like a coat on your hair, but like oil doesn't moisturize, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the reason why it works the best on your hair is because your hair doesn't need moisture as long as you're drinking enough water. You need to just
Yeah,
make sure you
this
seal in and
has
lock in that moisture.
natural, yeah, natural oils.
Yeah. And then the butter and the buttercream, the butter was made to draw in moisture. So it has ingredients to draw in moisture from the atmosphere to where it can give you a moisturizing benefit from it. And the buttercream is like a mix of both of those, where it's like you receive the shine, the softness that the oil gives. Like another main benefit that the reason why I made the oil was to make your hair easy to detangle, right? So the buttercream like has all of that, but then with the butter properties, it has like it draws in some moisture, So that's one of the reasons why it's like the number one soap product on the site. But yeah, I went through. People want me to make shampoos, they want me to make conditioners, they want me to drop brushes, they want me. I'm just like, I'm really not. I didn't do this to make a business. I did it more so
Because some
to
your
give my
passion.
supporters. No,
Yeah.
it was more so to give my supporters something they were asking for, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just kept growing and growing. I was like, well, all right, I'll just do this. But I'm at the point now to where I'm like, I really want to shift my focus more so into the financial industry. So I've been learning how to trade for over 5 years. I became consistently profitable within the last 2. And when I realized how much I could do with that, I was like, all right, I don't want to get too bogged down with the hair product line and everything in that nature. I'll keep it around, but I don't want to make a shampoo. I don't want to make a conditioner. I don't want to do all the other stuff. And then there's great companies out there like this Design Essentials. They're Black owned. I
Mm-hmm.
never have an issue saying, hey, use this person's products with mine, or use this or use that. So I don't believe in there's only
It's a
enough for
billion
me.
dollar industry. Everybody get a
Yeah,
piece of it.
60 billion. That's one thing that people don't know. It's a $60 billion industry. So
I was just
it's
trying to keep.
maybe,
Look, I was just trying to keep it a little simple for everybody. You want to hit the
yeah.
big number, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's just like, that's the thing. I sit back and it's like with companies, I'm like, man, people really think that they have to monopolize the product, the hair product industry. And it's like, no, there's more than enough clients. And if you have a product that stands out, my products, I actually sell a lot more affordable than what most people sell. Like most people, when it comes to like oils, they'll sell like a 1 ounce bottle for like $20, right? I
Mm-hmm.
sell a 2 ounce bottle for about $20. So it's like there's some
More
people
for
that
your
they're,
money.
yeah, you get more for your money. Some people are used to bigger brands that can buy at wholesale prices, and then they can sell it for a lot more affordable. But when one thing that people need to understand about like small businesses like myself and other people, we don't have that luxury of being able to buy it at a cheaper rate as well as getting it manufactured at a lower cost. So for me to choose to sell 2 ounces at like 20, I'm just like, people are gonna buy what they believe in, right? And if you give them something that they believe in, it's to the point to where I don't even have to worry about promoting. Like I probably only have 3 videos or 4 videos on my channel actually talking about my product, but I consistently get orders in like all day, every day, so.
That's good. You made a valid point because most people don't know that. They think that, oh, you're just trying to be expensive. You know how a lot of
Yeah.
people say black owned means expensive.
Yeah, they try to say it. But when you a small bit, it's not until you start making those products. It's not like, for me, I actually when I first started, I used to hand wrap every single label. When I made the first batch of butters and things of that nature, before I was able to invest into the actual automatic equipment, like to do the manufacturing, I had to hand do all of that stuff. When you start doing it, you're like, yeah, I can't sell this for $10. Like I'm shooting myself in the foot if I do that,
Yeah.
But people don't understand that. They think that, oh, well, why does Shea Moisture only sell theirs? I get 4 ounces for this. And I'm like, man, they are a whole industry. They have warehouses and they get discounts whenever they buy the
Little bottles
ingredients.
be like 25 cents and they sell them to you for
Yeah.
$5. They on the come up. Well, if we go buy
Yeah.
products, it's gonna be expensive. We
Mm-hmm.
end up paying like $2, $3, or maybe $10 for just the bottle itself, and then we have to put the product in there. All that equals up to $10. So if we're selling it for 20, that's $20 right there. We got to get something out of it. All the hard work and labor, and it's not that we're not trying to It's, I want to say this. It's not where it's not about the profit, because everything we do is about profit at some point. But we have to really think about it. And most people don't think like that. They just want to just focus in on that it's expensive. It's expensive. I can't afford it and stuff. But if we're trying to give you the best quality, what we could afford, we're gonna do what we're gonna have to do. And that's that.
And it's just like when you first come out, they compare you to Amazon. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, Amazon been around for years. I can't offer 1-day shipping. Like I've had a few people that was
They've been
like,
doing books. They started off as a book company. And just
yeah, I've
now
had a
doing
few
what they're
people
doing.
that, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just saying that they started off as a book company.
Yeah.
And then they started doing all this other stuff. So they was in their basement looking crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody started off in their basement looking crazy, and then was able to get these big investors to invest in them and go forward from there. That's how they making their money and stuff. So I just tell everybody, be patient with people, either support or don't support. Either way it goes, somebody, it's gonna be helpful with somebody, or at least share it, because you never know who you're helping.
And that's one of the things I thank God for, is that I can count on my hands how many just customers that were not satisfied, right? Like, like there's people that say, oh, my order came in this way, da, 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 da. But then I talk to them and we get it resolved. And there's only about 3 people I can remember where I tried to go out my way. I believe in customer service over everything, right? Try to go out my way. Hey, man, I'll send you another bottle. It broke. It's not my fault, and it shouldn't be my responsibility, but I'll still send you another bottle, right? There's only 3 people that I can count. We've been in business for over 2 years on my hand, so it's just like, one of the things about when people say black owned is like expensive, that comes from also, sadly, there's a lot of black owned businesses that they don't focus on customer service, and it's just like, if a person is paying a lot of money, then they want to be treated as such, and it's just like, what I try to focus on is, whatever I charge, try to make sure that every single customer has the same experience. Whether if it's a celebrity, I've had celebrities that's ordered, and I have had just regular people like myself, as well as yourself, that ordered as well. And I treat everybody the same. I try not to look at the names of the orders, just to be unbiased in that regard.
But first of all, I am a celebrity. We're all celebrities, okay?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
I'll just mess with you. It's fine. But I want to say I appreciate you and your time. Before I let you go, I always play a game. But before I play this game, I do want to talk to you about, I see on your LinkedIn, you have Learn How to Trade, Road to Success program. I know this is about hair, but whenever someone else is doing something, especially another African-American person, I like to make sure I get every part of their business, okay? Everything. So tell us a little bit about that, especially the program, since you have it.
Well, I really do appreciate the research you've done. The Road to Success trading program was and the reason why I say was is because I'm transitioning from
Mm-hmm.
offering it as like a program where I teach people one-on-one, where basically there's 3 different tiers that people can join the program on a recurring basis to learn the system that I've used to be able to become a consistently profitable trader
Mm-hmm.
in order to help them make the money that they're trying to make, right? So to back that up, when I speak about trading, I'm not talking about stocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stocks is more so an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people talk about stocks, they're thinking of investing, buying and holding for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Trading is something that you do where you can buy and you can make money on the way up, as well as if you believe the market's going to go down, you can sell and make money on the way down, right? And a lot of people in our community do not know that. They think that they only have one option, which is to buy low, and then whenever price goes up, that's when they bank and make profit. But the reality is you can make money in both directions if you know how to read the markets. And I created a system that allowed me to see, okay, if the market is doing this, then most likely it's going to go down. So therefore, I should sell here. Or if the market does the opposite, then I should buy, right? And I offered it in 3 different tiers. It's been about almost a year, maybe almost 2 years since I've had the academy running. And I've had tremendous success from people that's been in the program. There's been some people that within their first week, they learned what they needed to and they became funded and all this crazy stuff. And there's been some people that they've been with me for over a year and they're still struggling, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not one of those types of people that makes it seem like everybody's seen success,
It's
because
all based on how you learn and what you take in.
it's all based off of how you learn, what you take in, but it's also based off of your personality type. So what I
Mm-hmm.
decided to do was, moving forward, I'm actually in the process of writing a book. It's going to be a free ebook that people will be able to download and access from my Instagram. And it'll show everything like, okay, this is what trading is. These are the different markets you can trade. This is how to buy. This is how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that I use. And if you want to learn and use the tools that I've coded, because of my engineering background, I've coded indicators
Mm-hmm.
that you can use on the screen to kind of tell you, okay, the market's going to most likely do this. Then that's going to be like sold as a course, as something that you can buy on top of using the program, right? I'm not going to give out the things that I've designed for free, but that's what I'm moving forward in the future. And I'm trying to get that wrapped up by the end of February, just kind of like create my own Black history, you know. But
Look,
we'll
do it.
see.
Yes, do it.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. And I guess the last thing I'll say about that is the reason why I talk about trading is that people always know me for waves. And when you look at the markets, the market moves in waves. It goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down,
Mm-hmm.
it goes up and it goes down. And a lot of my supporters was like, bro, why are you talking about this? And I was like, y'all fail to understand that I'm still talking about waves. I'm just talking about waves that matter more. Like these
Me.
waves, if you understand these waves,
Yes.
you can make way more money. Like I had uh, um, a student that just joined 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's been trading for 4 years, consistently break even or losing. We had a one-on-one session with him. He emailed me this morning. He said he made 2% on his account. Now, people may not know, but 2% just depends on how big your account is. He's
Yeah.
going for a $200,000 account. So 2% on a $200,000 account is actually $4,000 in a day, right? So that's why I say I'm still talking about ways, but I'm talking about the ways that are more important. So,
You're doing is meeting people where they are.
yep.
And
And
most
you
people
don't,
are not willing to do that because they say,
yeah.
why I gotta go down here when I'm up here? But you fail to realize if you want to get your point across, sometimes you have to come back down here and like, look, this is what's going on. Oh, so you play basketball? Let me tell you about this
Yeah.
3-point shot. You know what I'm saying? This person made this person, oh, and then flip it around. They'd be like, and that's how a lot of people understand it.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the Lupe Fiasco approach. You got to speak in terms that people can understand. I can't just go over people's heads with scientific terms all day. They're gonna be like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, you know. And when you're talking to somebody, they're not gonna pull out a phone. You don't want to talk to somebody and they have to pull out a phone and Google it right there in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's
they
just
ain't
like I try
gonna
to
want to talk to you no more. They're like, they're doing
yeah.
too much for me.
Yeah, they like,
No,
man, this
too
dude, he
much.
full of himself.
Yes. Okay.
So
I
yeah.
do want to say this, okay? When is your next class?
A next class for what?
For your
For the
trade.
program, the
Yes, for
trading.
the program.
So, like I mentioned, I'm not doing the academy is open. Like I said, I had a guy that
Okay.
joined recently. Anybody can join, but
Okay.
once I finish the book and I have all of the videos shot for the course, then I'm going to transition it over to where it's going to be a more simplified approach with the things that I've learned to improve the current system that I'm teaching people. So there's people that are learning a system from me now that they're seeing success. I've been able to learn how to simplify it and make it a lot easier to understand, and that is going to be released hopefully by the end of February. And it's like I said, the book is going to be free no matter what. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to learn, they'll say, okay, I want to learn how to trade. They can read the book without having to pay anything. And if they see that, okay, I think I can understand this, I want to invest in it, then they'll be able to buy the course. And I'm not one of those guys that believe in charging an arm and a leg. There's a lot of people that think that because something's more expensive, there's a lot more valuable. But I have people from all different programs. They joined different programs before, and they're like, your program is so simple to understand. Like, why aren't you charging more? And it just, I believe with our people, we need financial support, right? We need ways to make money without having to spend too much time. And trading allowed me to be able to do that, and a lot of people don't know about it, but that's my goal, is to get to the point where it's like, all right, I've helped
You can
so
do it
many
with your eyes
people.
sleep, with your eyes
Yeah.
closed. I
Yeah,
got this.
exactly. So, and
You
who
have
knows? I may have a hedge fund one day.
hey,
So,
look, you never know. You have
yeah.
a podcast that I see, Blunt
Yeah.
Brothers podcast. I just noticed that. I was like, wait a minute, he got a podcast and he didn't say nothing about it. Why you
That's
holding out on
because
us?
the Blunt Brothers podcast is a podcast that I did with my older brother. We stopped when COVID took off because it was like he has a family and then I'm like on my own, and we just wanted to kind of like limit the exposure during that time period. But yeah, it's definitely a podcast where it's a play on words. Like my brother, he has smoked with some famous people. He is a marijuana connoisseur. I guess that's the best way to put it. And we both are known for being direct, which is the blunt aspect of it, right? So it's like a double entendre. So that's what the Blunt Brothers podcast is. We're working on trying to bring that back. I told him, I said, I've been telling them that we need to do Zoom podcasts like how we're doing now.
Yes.
And I think he is just like with everything that was going on with COVID, it was just a lot of transitioning that took place, but yeah.
Yes, look,
You do
bring it
your
back.
research.
Look, bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Podcasts in, bring it back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna play this game. It's called Which One Has to Go? Okay. Oil, hair cream, or hair butter? Which one has to go?
Hair cream.
Why?
I believe in oils and butters.
Okay. Yeah, you did say that earlier. You just made
because it's like
for the supporters.
One thing I noticed was that they're like some companies will just make several products, and I'm just like, they all do the same thing. Like, so you're buying 3 different products that does the same exact thing.
Yeah, I'm all in believe it. Learn your hair, be intimate with your hair. You're gonna get the same results that you're looking for. If you don't, then you're gonna be wasting all this money and making someone else richer instead of. I'm not saying you don't want to make anybody rich, you know what I'm saying, but be a part of the, the whole big $60 billion, like you say, $60 billion company. But just be smart about it. Because you could buy 50 of the same products that's going to work instead of buying 50 products that you don't know about. But I am so glad and I'm appreciative of having you on here.
Likewise, I appreciate you reaching out. And I also have a website, so I'm definitely down for like writing a blog, because I don't want to get too much into it. We could probably talk about that a little bit later, but it definitely helps both of us whenever I feature you on my site, and then you're going to feature me because of the interview, so I like to help people out as well. I don't believe in just taking. So.
Oh, no. Let's make something clear. This is not, don't feel like you're taking anything, okay? Or using anybody, because at the same time, we're helping each other, okay?
Yeah.
You're taking time out of your busy day to come on this podcast to help. Well, we're helping each other to help each other. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. You're talking about hair care products. You just told us how to properly trade. Little bits of information. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all got to go to the academy. So don't think, I mean, everything, some things are free, not everything. He worked hard on this. Okay. So you're going to get a little bit of it, just a little bit. And the ebook coming out. So it's just, I just love doing this. I love being there for others.
Likewise. Okay.
So I will say that. So, but I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. This is the Kinky Hair Culture Podcast. And if y'all, I'm gonna have all his links. Okay.
I'm
gonna have all his links. I'm gonna have pictures of all his products. So if y'all want to actually look and see, I'm gonna show his 360 waves, 570. No, 520, 720. I'm gonna get it right. 720 waves. I'm gonna have all that up there so you'll know what he was talking about, because when he was talking about it, I was a little bit lost. I was like, okay, I see you 360. When he said the rest, I was like, dang, I want to feel stupid. Please explain.
Yeah, when you see the 720 picture, I want to know your thoughts, because a lot of people are like, well, dude, what they like? They think it's finger waves.
So look, we're gonna have everything, and also, even like I said, even though we wasn't talking about hair, the trading, because a lot of Black people don't do a lot of things because they feel like they're not smart enough.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I want everybody out there to stop thinking that you're not smart enough, especially if you have someone like Justin giving you the opportunity. Like, look, come on to the academy. I'm doing a book for you. I'm doing everything. I'm giving you the road to success.
Yep.
It's whether you want to drive down that road. I can't put my foot on the gas for you. I can't stir the wheel. I can't do none of that stuff. It's all up to you. And he's giving you the tools. Okay. So I thank you and I appreciate you. Until next time, my name is Candace and this is the Kinky Hair Culture Podcast. Bye, everyone.
Salute.
Too